right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. As the show says, we're here nightly, 7 nights a week at 412-575-2600. You can also hit us up on Twitter at KDPomp, at the Pony Express. Andrew Filipponi up at the PM team tonight. On a night the Pirates set some sort of record here. The Cubs score 18 runs. They steal 8 bases, the first team to do that since 1912. And Rowdy Tellez may not be available tomorrow, Andrew, so he's been pitching too much these days.
Auditioning to be the next Ohtani, Bob, apparently. He got a hit as a pitcher, which that doesn't happen anymore in Major League Baseball. You know, I just want to say this turned out to be, I would say, a bizarre day.
Yeah, bottom line is they got a lot of problems, but not the least of which is trying to figure out what they're going to do next year. Now, they have a lot of holes to fill. They don't have any answers in their system, in my opinion. Certainly not at first base, which is someplace I thought maybe they would try a few players, maybe even Cruz. But to put him in center is very interesting to me. I'll see how it goes. September is for that. And what they're admitting here, Andrew, is despite what Grandal said yesterday, that, hey, you never know what can happen. We're going to play these games, blah, blah, blah. This indicates that they're going to take a look at things, as well they should, because they're not in position to do anything except play this string out.
There's no way if they were 2 games out of a playoff spot they would do this.
No.
They would experiment and tinker in September, okay? They would play IKF in center field where he's very comfortable playing, and they would have kept O'Neill Cruz at shortstop, and they would have lived with the errors rather than have somebody become the guy that covers the most ground and is supposed to be the person that catches those borderline balls in left center and right center, and have O'Neill Cruz learn a new position literally on the job training. He's never played center field at any level of professional baseball. So I do think it's an admission by then that there's more of an eye towards 2025. I do agree with that, Bob, that that's how they should be viewing the last month of the season. But it is awfully peculiar and odd. And I know a lot of these guys in professional sports are professional liars. They say one thing to the media, they don't mean it. And in fact, behind closed doors, they're saying the exact opposite. 8 days ago, Ben Cherington was pounding the table for O'Neill Cruz as a shortstop. Right. And now they just came out of nowhere and said he's learning a new position. And by the way, it's not an easy one to learn. He's a great athlete, but it's still no easy task being a center fielder, as we saw Ji-Hwan Bae butchered the position again tonight.
Yeah, a lot of players have problems out there. He hasn't done it. And listen, while I'm interested to see if he can handle it, he didn't seem excited to do it, although Ben Cherington said he was professional in how he handled it. He may not like it, and if he doesn't like it, I wonder what that will do to him. One thing I'll say, I'd rather, if that's going to be the case, I don't expect him to succeed out there. In my opinion, Andrew, I don't. I expect to see him back at shortstop, and I'm okay with some errors. He has to reduce it, but he came back from an injury. I'd be willing to give him this year and say, okay, improve your defense. We like your stick. You get 20 home runs, 25 home runs out of your shortstop. That's some nice extra hitting. You should be able to find outfielders who can hit the ball a little bit better. Consider they have holes at first base, third base, right field, center field, and arguably, depending on the day, catcher.
Well, I don't think he'll succeed out there either right away because he's going to have, 3 or 4 days or a week of instruction on how to play the position before he goes out there. That's not really setting a guy up to succeed, in my opinion. But I don't think there's any going back with him at short. I think if this were viewed as a temporary measure, they would have couched it that way. They would have said, hey, you're doing it right now because we just want to see how you perform out there. We still view you as a shortstop. They said nothing close to that today. I thought from Cherington and Shelton was an admission as well that he's just not going to succeed defensively at shortstop.
How about if he doesn't succeed in center field as a center fielder, then what?
Then I think right field, DH, maybe first base. I don't know, Bob. I mean, it's a great question by you, but I don't think when you tell a guy that's always been a shortstop, you're not a shortstop anymore, I think you're willing to close that door for good. And I don't think he'd be so disappointed if it was just a 1-month trial thing.
We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the Steelers who've got to make a lot of interesting moves here in the next 24 hours. They made 8 of them today, insignificant, with a lot of guys you would have expected. We'll get into where they go from here. And also, cha-ching, cha-ching, the wide receiving market is going up. based on what happened in Dallas today. We'll talk about all that, plus get your calls in at 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on KDKA+. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from Joel Corey, who says CeeDee Lamb's $100 million in guarantees is tied with Myles Garrett for the fourth most ever among non-quarterbacks behind Bosa, Jefferson. I wonder how much of Lamb's $100 million is fully guaranteed at signing. The answer to that is $38 million at signing, which leads us real quick, Andrew, into the Brandon Ayuk situation. It's still pending. It's still out there. It's still unresolved. CeeDee Lamb gets this kind of money. People like Jamar Chase, people like Brandon Ayuk are probably saying, good for business right here. What do you think that means, if anything, to his situation?
Well, I don't think either the Steelers or the 49ers or the teams involved view Ayuk the same way the rest of the league views and values CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb led the NFL in catches last year. He had 1,700 receiving yards. I mean, he was, for Dak Prescott, his first target, second target, and third target. And Ayuk is really good, and he is an explosive wide receiver who has made that post route play his bread and butter and has big plays all the time off of it. However, he's not worth that kind of money. You see, CeeDee Lamb did not get the highest paid contract. It's still Jefferson. And I think the same thing goes for Ayuk. I'm not so sure about Chase. Chase, I do think, has an argument to get exactly the same amount of money, if not more, than CeeDee Lamb. But he is back practicing in Cincinnati, which is interesting because there were reports there that he was not even going to do that until he had a new contract. The difference is he has 2 years left on his contract, while Ayuk just has the one.
Yeah, you never see guys at 2 years do what he's doing, but for them, if he plays, that's certainly good for Joe Burrow. All right, we got a lot of calls. Let's get right to them, beginning with our number one Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night. We go down to Washington, PA. David joins us right now. Hey, David.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Pony. Hey, listen, I had called before lobbying for Cruz to remain at short. And, Bob, you said something and stole a little of my thunder. I just wish, the only thing that I regret, this was his first full season. I wish they had gone to him privately behind closed doors and said, look, just like you said, Bob, we're going to give you one more year next year, and if you don't cut down the errors, we're going to move you. Because he looks around the league, hey, Ellie De La Cruz, 26 errors.
Yeah.
Gunnar Henderson, 23. And whether it's fair or not for him to compare his situation to other people, I just wonder down the road what he's going to think of that. And maybe that they didn't have confidence in him. And what worries me is, will he hold that against him when he becomes a free agent?
Yeah, David, those are great points. And that's one of the reasons why I said give him another year. If you're going to do it, I understand you can tinker with this now in September, but listen, if he improves his defense and still brings you that kind of bat, again, that's an extra luxury that you don't get from many shortstops, unless, you know, the ones he just mentioned there who are putting up kind of numbers, Andrew. So I don't know. And then you said eventually if it doesn't work, maybe DH. Then, you know, to me, that's going to be the end of Andrew McCutchen here. You can't have him come back just occupying one of those roles if you need Henry Davis or Cruz or anyone else, a younger bat, to have one of those positions.
Yeah, Cruz wouldn't be their DH next year. Even if the center field experiment doesn't pan out, I think they'd move him to a corner outfield or attempt to before something like that. I mean, left field is obviously a very important position at PNC Park, and now you've got Brian De La Cruz at right field, so
and he's
that
no
does
good
complicate
defensively.
Things. No, he's not. He's terrible, actually. He doesn't do much. Well, he hasn't hit home runs here either, so he's not really bringing anything to the table currently. I just see no evidence that Cruz is ever going to develop into a good shortstop. There's a reason ever since Abner Doubleday invented this game that no one his size has ever played it consistently. It's just a lot of bending down and getting low for somebody who's that tall. And he's just, I think it's problematic. I really do. I think that there's a good reason why we haven't seen anyone else literally do it before him, and the results just weren't there. If you don't like traditional stats, all the more analytical stats, the deeper stats say he's not a good shortstop. So, and plus, Bob, his baseball IQ over there is not very good either. Let's just call it what it is. The Brian Reynolds play in Houston, he just makes gaffes and mistakes that, frankly, you can't afford at a position where the ball is hit there so often.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I also think, I wouldn't rule out totally that he has a return in his future to shortstop. I think if things don't work out in the outfield or he shows that he's not willing to do it as much as they want, then they got to figure something out because the bat still plays and the bat's very good. Let's go to Tony in the Hill District on line 1, who joins us right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Tony, what's up?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Pony. For the last couple of years, I think that Mike Tomlin don't have no clue of what plays are really being called for them to play the way they do. And I don't understand why he don't call some plays, because you see a lot of NFL coaches with the eliminated playboards in their hand, and I never see Mike Tomlin with one. Do you think that would make a difference?
Well, let me tell you something. Nick Sirianni started taking over the plays last year, and that didn't work so well, and it led to maybe a little bit of a rift between him and Jalen Hurts. Listen, they hire an offensive coordinator to do that stuff. There are other things that I think he needs to worry about. But that brings us to this whole thing here about all day long, Andrew, I saw on national television, they're still debating who's going to be the Steelers starting quarterback. Is there any debate, really? Is there? You may think somebody like a Justin Fields should play, but the way they've handled it, there is no debate. It's going to be Russell Wilson, because he doesn't turn the ball over nearly as much as Justin Fields does, and I think that's a big thing for Mike Tomlin.
I really wonder where it's coming from. I mean, it makes me wonder if Fields' agent is doing him a disservice and trying to let national insiders know that his guy can still get the job. And so they're taking that information, they're running with it. I don't think that that's good in the long run for Fields at all, that he would have somebody that would try to twist the truth that badly. Yeah, I mean, Bob, to me, there were moments of wow in the preseason and things from a running standpoint that do make you excited, but there were 4 times the ball was on the ground. 2 of them were absolutely his fault in the first game with the fumbles. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that he will be an option this year. I think there's a very good chance he plays because Russell Wilson is just not able to overcome some of the other issues the Steelers have offensively, like offensive line issues and wide receiver issues. But, yeah, I mean, there's no way. Unless Russell Wilson re-aggravates that calf injury before they get to Atlanta, he will be their starting quarterback, and he should be. I want to give that guy the first chance to sink or swim as Steelers quarterback.
Greg in Newcastle joins us right now here on KDKA+. What's up, Greg?
Well, not much. I was thinking, why not just trade O'Neal Cruz? See what you can get for him. If you can't get enough for him, then you keep him. He's a head case.
He's so young, and he has so much offensive talent. The last thing I want to do at this point on a team that's totally bereft of offense is trade one of your better offensive players. So, no, I'm not doing that. I think they just got to figure this out, Andrew, at some point. They can't give up a bat like that because they don't have bats in their system.
I agree. I mean, I thought one of the strange comments from Shelton today about this was how this is going to free O'Neal Cruz up, almost like he made it seem like it would be a weight lifted off his shoulders. Well, how easy is it for someone to learn a new position when they've never been out there?
Right.
The idea that O'Neal Cruz isn't going to have to think it all and it's going to come to him naturally and easily, I just completely disagree with. I mean, maybe in the long run it'll be that way, but I don't think that this makes his day at the ballpark or the office any less stressful, Bob. He's doing something that is completely foreign to him right now.
No, and that's going to take time. And if your mind's on that so much, your offense may suffer. I mean, you're right. That when I heard the comment, I thought the same exact thing. Before we go to break, let's head to Ryan in Forest Hills. Ryan, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I just wanted to talk about the Pirates again, and I just think as much problems as they have on the field, it's an organizational problem. Like, to me, it's the little things. And like one example is I saw that they DFA'd Taylor today. Like, you got O'Neal Cruz, probably the most talented guy on the roster, and you DFA a guy who's won a World Series, is one of the best defenders in center field. What's the point of trotting out a guy like Ji-Hwan Bae whenever you have a guy like that could teach him the position?
Well, from that point of view, yeah, I would maybe agree with that because he can at least help him. Ji-Hwan Bae makes a mess of everything that goes in center field, it seems. But Michael A. Taylor can't hit. Again, that's part of the problem here. I did not see this today coming as a result of what happened with the Taylor DFA. I didn't, Andrew. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until this happened today, and I thought, that's kind of weird, isn't it? They're clearing a space for him.
Well, yeah, I just kind of thought that with Taylor leaving, they would play IKF in center field because he's done that so much in his career, including his time in Toronto. I mean, that was one of the things that was so appealing about him. He's a jack-of-all-trades player. You know, it's not a bad point by the caller. I mean, yeah, Michael Taylor does not bring really anything to the table as far as what he's done offensively this year, but he clearly knows how to play center field, and he seems like a stand-up guy. He might think now in his 30s that mentor thing for the last month of the season is something that's, you know, passing the game along to somebody else and paying it forward. I mean, that's basically what the whole Bull Durham movie is all about, Bob. Yeah. That's what Crash Davis was doing. Right. I don't mind that argument. I mean, if I'm going to have one guy, if I'm going to have one guy to mentor or work with him, I don't want it to be G1 Bay. He's not a major leaguer. He's hitting under 200 and he can't play any positions, frankly.
No. That's exactly right, and that makes sense. Good caller right there. We're going to take a break here, come back with more. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We do it 7 nights a week, so don't be a stranger. Call us. No matter what the topic is, we talk about it right here on KDKA+. Ken Rice is standing by with a preview of what's on tap tonight. KDKA News at 11. Ken.
Hey, Bob. Tonight, the Congressional Task Force investigating the Trump rally shooting visits Butler, and we're there. Plus, what a judge just ruled about an election lawsuit in Washington County. And 2 local communities looking to combine their police forces. All ahead at 11. Bob, see you in a few minutes.
All right, Ken. Thanks very much, Andrew. And apologies to all the people. We had a ton of callers tonight. Just couldn't. We need more time. So write in, email people, and tell them we need more time, Pony. But we'll do it again tomorrow night, and we'll talk more about the Steelers. Because any surprise cuts, you think, real quick in 10 seconds?
I want to see what happens with Loudermilk. Can they trade him and maybe pick up a pick or a player at a bigger position of need?
Yeah, it's a very deep defensive line. There's no question about that. What with Montravius Adams doing what he's been doing for the last 4 years. Pony, thanks. As always, appreciate it. We'll do it again tomorrow night, right here at 10:35. Thank you for joining us on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.